Y'all, today we need to talk about the future of Wizard 101. I am in Selenopolis, and not only is this the most recent world, it's also a world with one of the coolest endings that I've ever seen Wiz put out. Tons of foreshadowing. I wanted to wait until I actually played through the world again to make a full-blown video on it, but I truly believe that what they're foreshadowing is going to change the very course of the entire game. Obviously, spoilers of Selenopolis' plot incoming. I will also be speculating and theorizing on what we can expect in the continuation of the arc that we're going to be getting this year, later this year. Now, a quick TLDR of Selenopolis' whole plot. There's this Celestian with a god complex named Khonsu who's annoyed at the wizard, who he refers to as Earthborn throughout the world. He's annoyed at the Earthborn for meddling with world affairs. He doesn't believe that a mere mortal should be able to change the course of history the way the wizard has been doing. Now, obviously, for the most part, we're a force for good, but I feel like someone with a god complex, they're not interested in good and bad. Now, we face off against him, and when we finally beat him, he once again says how much more powerful the wizard is than they should be. And what happens next is where things start getting a little bit crazy, as Khonsu is calling us out for meddling. Mallory, who's fighting with us in the battle, reveals that how could we be a threat to the spiral if Bartleby himself brought us here? Now, as far as I know, the 15 years that we played this game, the spell is working moment at the beginning of the game is never actually explained. But now we finally have a glimpse into where the wizard actually came from. It seems like Bartleby had an inkling that we needed to come to the spiral for some unexplained reason, and he made Merle Ambrose probably cast a spell to summon us here, something that is not normal. Now, Khonsu, this is like some all-powerful Celestian that's been aware of all of the wizard's exploits up to this point, so probably pretty high up in the power scale. He hadn't even considered the possibility of this, and once he's aware of the possibility that we've been brought out of the spiral and that the spiral isn't a closed system, he starts saying that it could be a threat to something. Now, Mallory, in her usual fashion, completely interrupts him, and we don't get more tidbits after that. But it's safe to assume that whatever brought us to the spiral from Earth, which is now, you know, canon in the plot, it's safe to assume that that is not a normal process, and it could end up breaking things in the spiral if we're not careful with it. It kind of calls into question whether Merle Ambrose, even with all of his powers, should have cast this spell. I think one of the ways the plot could go is this idea of forbidden summoning magic, and I feel like Merle Ambrose broke that rule by bringing us here. Have we done more good than bad during our years in the spiral? Probably. But you do have to question, like, how ethical is it to summon someone against their will, as in maybe they got a family, they got a life, you just summon them into this mystical ass world because you decided that a tree told you. It's kind of a weird thing for Merle Ambrose to be doing. I think there is a forbidden nature to this magic, kind of calls into question Merle Ambrose's ethics. Could be a plot point going forward. But as if all of this wasn't, you know, enough, because, like, you know, I guess, you know, that's just like a detail that we didn't know before. The actual ending of Selenopolis foreshadows that we're not the only Earthborn. So one of the enemies that we ended up, like, subduing, like, he basically revealed a whole lot. Apparently, when Khonsu was looking into our whereabouts, he tried to go backwards and could never find how we entered the spiral. He never knew about Bartleby or Merle Ambrose summoning us. But when he couldn't find where we came from, he decided to hone in on another Earthborn, and it turns out that they came from a much, much darker place. Khonsu apparently found another path that stretches from the darkest world to the beyond, and that's where this other Earthborn came from. And they spell it out for you. What this really means is we're not the only Earthborn in the spiral. However, what is probably easy to assume is that while we were summoned here by Bartleby, someone else summoned another Earthborn from a very, very dark part of the universe. And the even crazier part is, right, this Khonsu dude that is supposed to be powerful, he's faced down titans, he's faced down all kinds of, you know, ancient villains. He was willing to confront us, one Earthborn, but he was not willing to confront the other one, basically because they scared him. Now, they do refer to the Earthborn as she, so that's all we know about it so far. But I think it's very, very safe to assume that they are gonna be at least either the main villain or manipulated by the main villain of the upcoming arc. I'm really excited about this. While I don't mind the way the game has been going for the past, like, you know, 4 worlds or whatever, with the whole Novus to, like, Lemuria, all that stuff, I feel like the villain was very, very abstract. Like, we never actually even fought Design, even though he's supposed to be the main antagonist. You know, even in his confused state, he's like supposed to be the main antagonist. But I feel like the plot got, like, you know, really convoluted. Our main antagonist became like all of these different countries. It didn't feel clear who the enemy was, right? It's a big far cry from Malistaire or Morganth or Old Cop. And while I don't mind them changing it up every now and then, I do think the formula of one big bad person, I feel like that just works. And as long as you can make their, you know, their history, their story, you know, if you can make it believable enough, like some kind of dark wizard that was summoned to the spiral in a way very opposite and antithetical to the way the wizard was, I feel you could have a lot of fun with having just one big villain. Now, the real question is, what is so scary about this earthborn that she scared Khonsu more than anything we've done? I have a feeling that it has to be something related to shadow magic. I think the entire arc of our wizard has been that they've been basically corrupted by shadow magic. In fact, it was us using shadow magic that actually created like this little divine paradox that created all the issues in the fourth arc itself. So if we're from, you know, this perspective of light and we're corrupted by shadow, I think it goes to show that we're probably going to be expecting an enemy that is used to the shadow. And if they're used to the shadows, maybe they can use shadow magic in a way we've never seen. If it's not shadow magic, I'm gonna assume that they're just gonna add a whole ass other type of magic, right? If what this earthborn is doing is so scary, it's gotta be something like kind of foreign to like people that know, like, you know, magic in general. I think the next world that we're gonna be seeing in 2025, I think it's either gotta be about the wizard's origin story as an our wizard or the new enemy's origin story. And I have a feeling that Merle has been hiding a lot from us because it seems like he would know about this if he was the one that summoned us here to begin with. I have a feeling that the wizard was actually summoned to the spiral in response to another earthborn that was already starting to wreak havoc. And maybe all of our adventures leading up to this point were just getting us ready to face our biggest challenge yet. That's genuinely how I think they're gonna frame it. I think it's gonna be a really, really cool plot line. Now, I do think there is another possibility though, if they don't want to go like with the traditional evil person route. I think it's very, very safe to say that everything that we've done in the past 3 worlds has pissed off a lot of world leaders. We're talking about like Polaris, we're talking about Valencia, like all of those, right? The main reason we were even tricked to come into Selenopolis is because all of these disgruntled world powers were like, you know what? We can't beat the wizard. Let's go to someone that might have a shot, Khonsu. It could very well be that now that we've meddled, people with power are going to be creating this spiral-wide hunt for any earthborn at all. And it could be that the consequences of what we thought we were doing that was good could actually affect this other person that's born and raised in this dark, dark world and has probably had to have dealt with being an outsider for their entire lives already. So it could be less of like this person's evil and more of, you know, they're an outsider that hasn't had the friends that we've had, and we just made their life worse and we gotta rescue them. I think that is the other angle that they could go with it. I don't know which I prefer. I kind of want to fight someone that's a wizard that's also like, you know, like just badass and not like, you know, not Ravenwood Rays, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want something crazy like that. Those are my 2 big theories on the upcoming plot. Either a crazy villain type or maybe someone that we team up with because they're so similar to us. What do y'all think we can expect in the upcoming arc? I would love to hear y'all's thoughts on this. I feel like y'all always asking for like the return of Theory Thursday. This is the closest you're gonna get. But yeah, I definitely think if you haven't liked the way Wiz has been with enemies, I feel like the next arc probably will be a lot better. That's what I'm personally looking forward to. There should be a lot of little things that they foreshadowed here that's probably going to make this arc also very unique by itself. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I wanted to do a breakdown of all the dialogue because I do find it super interesting. I look forward to reading all of y'all's comments. Stay awesome, y'all. See y'all soon. And yeah.